Hey everyone, this is Ninja X Bean. You guys might know me as Beanly. I'm going to be showing you guys how I play Attack Mercy on this map. You probably see a lot of guides on Defense Mercy and how to position yourself and defend with Mercy. While she is good as being a support on defense, I personally enjoy also playing with her in attack. Before we start this guide, um, the way I present this guide is assuming that you already know the basics of Mercy, and you also have um, I wouldn't say proper team comp, but a suitable team comp. Like you don't want like 5 supports and 1 DPS or like 5 DPS in Mercy. So I'm going on the basis that there's like tanks and others and another support that will help you um, throughout this map, and obviously DPS to help you get the picks. So obvious good candidates to pocket heal with Mercy is Soldier 76, Pharah, and Roadhog. This video might be outdated since the game is always changing, but this should be a general idea of how I like to play with Mercy on attack. Um, if you have a teammate that goes attack Widow, you can also damage boost the Widow to get an early pick for your team to advance towards the point. There might be flankers around here. Generally, the defense team doesn't push this far out, but if there is a flanker like a Sombra or a Tracer or a Genji, don't be afraid to take out your gun and start shooting at them, and to also notify your team. That will scare off the flanker, and then if you can get a pick with Mercy, then that's even better, because the walk for the enemy on defense is much farther than it is for you on attack. If somehow your team is pushed all the way over here, you can try to sneak in the surprise res here and punish the enemy team and capture the first point easily, but that rarely happens since the enemy team will be defending at this choke. Throughout this guide, I'll also be showing you where I usually res, because I find them to be most effective. For a general idea with Attack Mercy though, you always, when you're playing Mercy, your judgment on when to res is crucial. So if you see a lot of your teammates dying, then obviously go in for the res. But I'm just showing you from my experience places where I've res and it has been effective for me. But yeah, for this choke, there's gonna be, if you have a Roadhog, you can damage boost him and get picks for you to advance, for you and your team to advance. Or if you have a Reinhardt or a D.Va or another tank that's trying to advance, you can heal them off and build your ult charge pretty fast. If you have a Pharahs, from what I noticed, they like to shoot here. You can go up to that Pharah and damage boost her to help her get some picks. And I really wouldn't recommend going through here. There might be Symmetras that put turrets here, or in general, this place I feel hasn't been really effective, and I generally don't like to stay here when as Mercy, because the enemy team will know that you're healing them off here. If a teammate goes through here, I generally don't want to follow them, because that indicates the enemy team that someone's trying to go through this way, and it gives them time to react and ward you off from pushing. If your team has a lot of picks, then they can start going to the point instantly, and this is a a good point to be conservative with Mercy. Like if you have your res ready and like you see a bunch of your teammates dying here, then you can once the enemy team like wasted their ults or whatever to try to defend off the point, you can just go in and res, and then you just traded your res in exchange for like a couple of the enemy a couple enemy ults, which is a big advantage for your team. But keep in mind though, if you're going to heal or damage boost here,
Did someone call a doctor?
the enemy team can spawn through here and they can easily see you here and they can start picking you out easily. So keep an eye out if you're gonna stay here. From what I see though, generally going up here with your teammates is good high ground. Like if you can Guardian Angel to here, or if you just go around with your teammates to here, you can damage boost them to help them get picks off for you to advance to the point. And then this hasn't really been effective to me, but you can also try to heal here or damage boost here, but obviously the enemy team is going to know you're here, and then it's going to be harder for you to like run away from the enemy team basically if they're trying to go for you. Once most of your team is on here and you still haven't used your res, another good idea is to hide around here or like heal around here. In that case, you have a good idea of where the enemy team is coming from, if they're coming through here or if they're coming through here. And they could come through here, but generally most people when they're respawning they go straight to the point here or they go over here. And remember to always let your team know that you have res ready, so you can go in and res your team here. Or if you want to be extra conservative, you can hide here and wait and then go into res. But yeah, that's the first point. Once you cap the first point, this choke right here isn't really much of an issue because the payload is pretty fast at moving here. And even if you get stuck at this choke, it should be pretty easy for your team to push. Since once you do push, it's really hard for the enemy team to defend the payload, because they have to get that walk from spawn, which is all the way over there. When you're on the second point though, you have to keep in mind that the map is much more open now, so you're prone to people flanking and trying to get rid of you, so it makes it for your team harder to push because there'll be down a healer. What I like to do is, if there's someone that can get high ground like a Genji or a Pharah, that's always nice. I'll show you what I mean. So once the payload is like moving towards here, this is a good idea to heal him off here or damage boost here. That way you won't be caught in some of the fire that's going on. And remember that you can always glide with Mercy's rings once the payloads start moving over here, and heal and damage boost. Now with the alleyway, I really wouldn't recommend going through the alleyway if you're Mercy, because you want to stick with your team. Most of your team will be trying to move the payload. But what we're saying about high ground again is, if you can get some high ground and maybe get some healing off of here, or once the payload is here, you can try to get some high ground and glide. But this is also a good place to get some high ground, especially to like when the payload's moving. You can heal and damage boost as the payload progresses. Obviously though, you have to keep in mind that the enemy when they respawn. They come through here, they come through there, and they come through here. If the payload gets stuck like around here, you might want to be more reserved and try to hide back a bit and let your teammates know that you have res ready so they can die on the payload and you can just go in and res. This point of the map, the old enemy spawn, also opens up, but like I said, I wouldn't really recommend going here because you want to focus on the payload. This area here I also don't really use because, like I said, you want to focus on the payload. And the enemy can come through here. Generally though, they won't focus going through here. So it is kind of safer in that regard, but like I said, I'd rather be focusing on the payload. So when the payload is around here, you don't want to really heal here because enemy comes through here. Especially, this is the common way for the enemies to get out. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, the payload gets stuck around here. Try to let your team know they can go through this alleyway because it's a much faster walk to go this way than rather going all the way around and making it kind of obvious for the enemy defending team to retaliate. But yeah, if you can get your team to go through this way to get the payload back, you can heal and damage boost, and you can also stay back a bit if you want to res. You could also rest through the jail, and then you also have a nice health pack right here, just in case you get hit. So if the payload is here, you can just go in and res. That's the second point. The last point, there really isn't that. Well, there is a couple ways to work with, but like I said, you want to be focusing on the payload. I don't know why you would want to go through the old enemy spawn here. You can be reserved back and heal damage boost over here, or if you have someone that can get high ground, this place is wonderful. I really wouldn't recommend going around here at your mercy because you want to stick with your team, but I'm just going to show you what I mean by how high ground is really good. So once you're positioned up here from like a Pharah or a Genji that helped you, you can heal your team, and this is a good amount of length for you to heal and damage boost. And you are also avoiding fire down below. The enemy could try to come up and try to deal you here, but rarely have someone ever like come to try and punish me when I'm being on attack mercy here. And when I was up there, you can also heal and damage boost, but keep in mind that you won't know what's going on when the payload is pushing. Now this is also a good place to hide and healing and damage boosting, but it's also a popular place since there is a big health pack and the enemy team can pick you up. When the payload gets stuck around here, this is also a good place to heal and damage boost. But remember to always be aware of your surroundings. Like the enemy spawns through here, and here. And this is the more popular spawn entrance, or spawn exit, I'd say. But they could try to deal you through here. But by this point, the enemy is trying to get people off the payload, so from what I noticed, it's much safer to be in this vicinity. If you can have a Soldier 76 or a DPS get some high ground by the end of the point, you can really get some good picks here. That you can damage boost your soldier or your Pharah, and it'll catch the enemy off guard a bit. But keep in mind though that the enemy can go through here and try to punish you and your DPS. You could be kind of cheeky and also heal through here, but I really wouldn't recommend it, because if you're the enemy coming out through this way, you can hit here, or if you're coming out through this way, they can see you here as well. It's pretty cheeky. Yeah.
Heilstrahl aktiviert.
I really wouldn't recommend this unless you unless the enemy team is like so focused from coming out through this way, and like your team is doing so well. This isn't really a place to res. Like, I wouldn't hide here to res. I'd hide over here. And generally I would avoid healing or damage boosting or even hiding in this side, because like I said, this is a popular spawn exit and they'll see you. But that's it for this map. From what I notice, when it comes to like other supports with Mercy on the same team, Ana and Mercy on attack exerts a lot of pressure because Ana has anti-heal and she has her nano boost, and when she uses her bionic grenade on your teammates, it really helps Mercy heal much faster, so you could focus more on damage boosting. Lucio and Mercy is more like outlasting. It's like a more defensive support pick. Support picks. Lucio is nice for the speed boost, so you can. It's easier for you to go in with Mercy and res a bit faster. And with Zenyatta and Mercy, I feel like that's the most offensive, because you have Discord Orb and you have damage boost, which really will hurt the enemy health bars, but in trade, Zenyatta's Harmony Orb isn't the best at healing. And to be honest, I'd rather have either Ana or Lucio, but a good Zen can really mess up the enemy team. But yeah, I guess another general tip is for resing, you don't wanna like solo res. From my experience with attack, you should be more liberal with resing. Like, if you see 2 reses, then try to go in for it. But also keep in mind of like ult economy, like what ults your enemies have used so far, what they haven't used, and that'll give you a good idea of when to res. But you don't also want to hold on to your res the entire game unless your team is doing that well. Like, you don't want to be attack Mercy, and if your team gets on down, you don't want to wait till like a 4 or 5 man res. Like, If you can get 2-man res, that's good enough, and 3 is even better. But yeah, the way I like to play with Mercy on attack is for like the first point especially, you want to exert pressure on the enemy team. Their walk on defense for the first point is much farther than yours, and if you can keep on putting on that pressure when you're pushing through the payload as well, then that's just good momentum for your team. And from what I know, it can mess up the enemy team when they trickle in or snowball. So I hope you guys like my guide. I'm gonna do more map guides because like I said, I like playing with Mercy on attack, and I don't really see attack Mercy guides. So thank you guys for watching.